Good morning, fellow explorers.
Good morning.
I'm going to make the presumption that you too are an explorer in spirit, or you wouldn't be here. You'd be in one of those bigger places on a Sunday morning where thousands of people have the answer, instead of gathering with a small group of people asking some questions and listening deeply for the possibility of an answer emerging in you that works and makes sense and feels right for your soul. Because that answer is there. There is a promise that you don't have to live only in the question. Yes, you live in the question like Rilke invited us to 100 years ago, so famously. And as you listen into the question, the promise is that answers emerge. If you're not looking for the answer and are willing to let go of your need for it to arrive perfectly on your schedule in your time in accordance with how you think it should be. Because life works. The same force that created hundreds and billions and trillions of galaxies, trillions of galaxies, somehow all spinning right and perfectly and expanding outward at the speed of light. The known universe is expanding outward at the speed of light. Try to comprehend that. And that same growth, expansion factor is inviting you to let go. And hold on. And it's inviting you to hold on and let go. So, I have a dear friend who is a wonderful poet and essayist, playwright, who taught creative writing in a local high school for many years. And every year, after the students returned from their holiday break, her assignment was, think of 3 things: what you want to start doing in the new year, what you'd like to stop doing in the new year, and what you're doing well and want to keep doing. And she told me over dinner once that she had asked that question of literally thousands of students over the years. And many, many of them had many, many ideas of what they wanted to start doing in the new year. Fewer, but still quite a few, had ideas of what they wanted to stop doing in the new year. But very few had ideas of what they were doing well and what they could build on. And I'd like to stay with that point for a moment this morning, as together we turn as a community of individuals on our own individual paths, traveling somewhat parallel, sometimes, with each other. And this morning I invite you to join with me in facing the West, which is a deeply countercultural thing. In our culture, we like to face east. New beginnings, yay! We love facing south. Blessings, goodness, oh yeah, health, well-being, yay, south. West, let go and stand in the mystery, not so much. We like to get on to the next certain place. So this morning, for a few minutes, I'd like to invite you to join me in rocking in the holy mystery. And doing so by standing still in the present moment. So, if you're willing to do this little thing with me, it's just an exercise, an invitation, it's Celebration Circle. We don't do commandments around here. It's about invitation. I invite you to get up and move somewhere else in the room for just a minute. You can leave your purse behind. Don't worry about where your purse is or where your coffee. Just don't spill your coffee, please. Just stand anywhere. You don't have to go far, but just in a different place than where you were. I'm asking you already to get a little uncomfortable. Oh yeah, there's the thing. Yeah. Okay. Wherever you are, whether you're sitting or standing, whether you've moved or whether you chose to stay where you were, imagine yourself standing in a brand new place. Maybe it's in Hawaii, maybe it's in your backyard, maybe it's someplace you haven't explored for a while. But you're standing there, you're not lost, you're just exploring. And you've arrived in this new place with eyes open or eyes closed, it doesn't matter. Take a minute to feel how you're feeling in your body right now. Are you relaxed? Are you a little nervous? Wondering what's going on here? I'm lost. Where do I go now? Or, hey, I wonder what's next. However you are, take a moment to find how you're feeling in your body right now. And now imagine that across from you, maybe 2 feet, maybe a mile, but over there, there's something you're really wanting to manifest in your life. Something for yourself, something you wanted to do, something you wanted to have, somewhere you wanted to go. Over there. It's on the other side of a gap. And between you and that desired something, someplace, somehow, over there, there's a ditch, a canyon. You don't quite know how to cross it. Take a minute just to feel that in your body. How do I get over there? I can't. It's too far to jump. Or maybe I could jump it. Maybe it's dangerous to cross this gap. Just feel that. Feel that uncertainty. And just let go of that. Just let go of that and come back to this present moment. I left you in a place of uncertainty for about 5 or 6 seconds, and I'm guessing most of you, many of us, immediately went to what's next. Wonder what he's going to say next. You couldn't just hang out in that place of uncertainty, right? Okay, just let go of that. That was just a little exercise. Come back to your seat or wherever it is you want to be for the next few minutes. And reflect with me on what it was like to stand at the edge of uncertainty. It was pretend we were in a perfectly safe, air-conditioned space surrounded by friendly faces. It might be a little cold in here, yeah. I see several people crossing the rooms. When confronted with uncertainty, many of us get stuck in how am I going to get from here to there? We think that we're holding the pen and we've got to write the plan for how to get from here to there. And forget that we can also choose to be the pen and let Spirit do the writing. That's the essence of the co-creative process. We talk about co-creation celebration circle. We're talking about the awareness that what we choose to create in our lives is not created by ourselves, but by Spirit, life, the infinite intelligence, the divine, Holy Mother, whatever you want to call the great otherness, is what's doing the writing through us. And we sit around with a pen in our hand trying to make a plan, trying to figure out how am I going to get across there? How am I going to make that manifest? How do I get that money? How do I get that healing? How do I get that lover? How do I get that house? I got to write a plan. I had the good fortune to live in London a couple of times, and there when you ride the subway, how many of you have ever ridden the tube in London? The tube, the subway. There, right as the doors open, you get ready to go out, there's an announcement that happens. Mind the gap, mind the gap, mind the gap. Because between the subway car that you're in and the platform, there's a gap. And in some stations, the gap is 3 inches. In some stations, the gap is more like a foot. Or it just, I don't know, the anomalies. That's why they keep this recording going over. Mind the gap. Because, stepping into the gap could be a drag. But so many of us spend our time focused on the gap. I might die. I might not ever get over there where I really, really want to be over there. And this morning, I invite you to hear this one sentence. If nothing else this morning, I invite you to hear this brief sentence from the Sikh philosopher and activist Tara Singh. What you are is far superior to what you want to become. What you are in this moment, just as you are, is far superior to all those fantasies of what you're going to become when you're thinner or richer or smarter or have that perfect job or that perfect partner. That fantasy over there has power, absolutely. It's the American way to think about what's over there and go get it. Nothing wrong with that. And it can be debilitating to get caught up in the shadow, in the fear, in the smallness of diminishing who you are in this moment, in service of that thing that's going to make you better someday, somehow, somewhere. Can you feel that with me? I'm not sure it was true for all of us. When that little exercise we did where we just moved to the other side of the room and Rudi said, stand here and pretend you want to go there and you don't know how and there's a gap and what are you going to do? Just stay with it. And instantly your mind fled to the next thought rather than staying with it. And that's also what happens when you're trying to figure out how to become that person who exercises more and has more money and has the perfect part. That person over there that's going to be perfect someday. Your mind keeps just running here and there and scattering anything except standing in the power of who you are and just looking at that gap. Minding the gap without getting swallowed by the gap. Does that make sense? And surrendering to the moment and being fully present with who I am, who you are, just the way I am, just the way you are, is not the same as giving up. It's not the same as, well, maybe it is. One of my most powerful spiritual teachers I have ever had the chance to work with was Arnold Patent. And he used to talk a lot about everything being perfect just the way it is right now. Perfect? And the mind immediately, his students would immediately go, oh, no, not perfect. I've got this neighbor next door, and I've got this boss, and my body is, and I've got cancer, and that's not perfect. Don't ask me to call it perfect. And Arnold's response was always, can you let it be perfect just for now? Just for now. Can it be perfect that you are as you are with the gap in front of you and the unknown between you and how to get over there where you think you ought to, want to, gonna be someday? And let this be perfect and feel the perfection of it just the way it is. When I was making my living in San Francisco, Berkeley, Zette and I lived there for 5 years, and for a year and a half I had a job. Wow. At 9 to 5, I had to be there like at 9 o'clock, not 9:01, 9 o'clock. It was very weird. But I knew I needed to do it. I needed to learn how to do it, and my music had dried up, and there we were in California. I got a job working as an administrative assistant and doing what I had to do. And But my passion was music, is music, and I wanted to get back to it. And I was studying with Arnold Patton and said, Arnold, I really hate this job, and I really want to get back to singing full time. And I said, hey, you hate this job? You're pretty much stuck there, dude. Can you find the time and a way to come to peace with your job and let it be perfect? And when you can, and when you can honestly feel the perfection of your job just the way it is, you'll be shown the next thing. Well, I worked on it every day for weeks. I sat at my desk. I feel the perfection of typing this memo. I feel the perfection of listening to her tell me if they want to. I feel the perfection of redoing this memo for the third time. I feel the perfection. And then one day there came, I had to go make a delivery across the Bay Bridge. I had to get some surgical instruments across the bay. And then we were on a deadline, and I was driving the Kaiser Permanente truck to get the surgical instruments over to the Bay Bridge, and there was somebody had a wreck, and traffic was a total standstill. And I sat there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. And then the sun started setting over there, over the Golden Gate Bridge. And the fog came up. It was one of those beautiful moments. And people stacked up all around me, behind me, Hong Kong, beep, beep, and I just went outside of my car and stood there doing a little Tai Chi, facing the setting sun, with all these people around me. And I was like, I'm getting paid time and a half to stand here on the bridge doing Tai Chi at sunset.
Yeah.
Everybody else is mad.
Yeah.
This feels great. And I got the signal that this is okay. And the very next day, I told my boss, I handed my 2-week notice, and started doing what I'm doing still to this day, singing and speaking my truth. Why do I tell you this? Because it's very easy to get caught up in the traffic jam of life. Very, very easy thing. I'm never going to figure out a way to go do what I really love to do. It's very easy for the world to tell me, stop facing west and into the mystery and letting go. Turn to the east, the newness, the fun, the joy. And again, as students of spiritual principles, we're asked to stand in the holy mystery and to be available for what is coming through while being perfectly at peace with what is. And I know in this room, this very moment, there are some people dealing with some serious physical challenges in their bodies. And there are some people dealing with some very, very deep grief. And there's this desire for healing, desire for it to feel better. And all I can do is say, I'm standing here with you and feeling the pain and the sorrow of that as much as possible. And in the words of Ram Dass, healing is not a process of trying to get back to what was when I felt whole, but being more available to feel close to God now with what is. There's this desire not only to move forward toward that thing, but also to move backward to when things were better, when you were happier and healthier and younger. It ain't gonna happen. And that's not the assignment for those of us who are spiritual students. Our journey is forward, however haltingly and however mysteriously. And to just get ever closer to the Spirit, infinite mind moving to us, through us, as us. To be the pen, rather than trying to write with the pen and make it happen.
Breathing into this moment. I invite you to become fully present to your breath just as it is. To become fully present to your body just as it is. Opening your mind and becoming aware of whatever thoughts may be there without being attached to any of them. Feel your willingness and your ability to perceive the free flow of spirit moving through you, as you, from you, right now. And now. And now. And feel your willingness to be a conscious co-creator in partnership with the ever-evolving, ever-unfolding flow of divine energy. Feel the power of being an instrument for more and more of the divine to come into physical manifestation through you right here, right now, in this precious present moment. And in the days, in the weeks, in the years to come, feel yourself opening ever wider as you name and claim and fully accept your true co-creative power now. I invite you to rest and relax and release any illusion of separation from Source. To be open and willing to know that you are whole, perfect, and complete just as you are now. And that you are also growing and unfolding and evolving in consciousness into a future that you cannot predict, but one that you can trust as you remember your oneness with the Holy One, the Holy Wonder. And now allow your awareness of this oneness to expand beyond yourself and embrace the fullness of spirit flowing in and throughout this entire room, this gathering, this community we call Celebration Circle. And feel yourself being embraced by all those who are, have been, and will be part of this growing community of spiritual seekers. Won't you affirm with me that the circle too is whole, perfect, and complete just as it is? And that it too is growing and unfolding and evolving in consciousness into a future that is really already present here now. A future that we can trust, knowing that all is well. and all shall be well. And using the eyes of your heart, won't you see with renewed clarity that the circle is connected to the all and the everything, just as you are connected? And feel that this very moment contains the potential for newness in all areas of your life. New ways of seeing, new ways of being, new ways of being a co-creative force for good in the world. Won't you feel this pulsating power as we plant seeds in consciousness now, knowing that they will sprout and grow in ways and we cannot predict, but we can trust fully, for all is well, and all shall be well. We know this is so, just as we know that there is nothing that we need to do in this moment in order for any of this to happen. You and I are simply invited to be open and receptive to all that is and all that is becoming. As we sit here now in the sacred silence, and from this place of peace and power, feeling the radiant power of life flowing through you, won't you radiate your love out into the world, blessing all of creation, just as you have been blessed. And see yourself, see the celebration circle and all those around you as being divine seeds of the sacred, coming into manifestation ever more fully today, tomorrow, and all of our tomorrows, as we remember together that we are one. We are one. We are one. And so it is.